Hi, it's Wednesday, so we're baking. Today I'm gonna make giant chocolate chipper cookies. They're large, kind of a mix between sandy and cakey. They're thick, and they hold a beautiful shape, so they just look amazing. So we're gonna start by creaming the butter. 3/4 cup of butter, so 1.5 sticks room temperature. And then the sugar, we use 3/4 cup of brown sugar packed and 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of white sugar. And I think typically when people imagine or think about creaming butter and sugar, they just don't cream it long enough. A minute and 30 seconds typically is what they'll do, but really it needs like 3 or 4 minutes. And if you just give it 3 or 4 minutes, you'll see the difference. It's actually light and it's actually fluffy. Now, and it is super light, super fluffy. Just give it the time that it needs. Really fluffy, really fluffy. Okay, so the next step is to add the egg. So the next step for this recipe is going to be separating your egg white from your egg yolk. We're going to use 1 egg white and 2 egg yolks for this recipe. So it's really simple. We're just going to use the silicone slotted spurtle to separate them. Just crack your egg right over the spurtle and then kind of slide the yolk down, and you'll see the egg white and the egg yolk separate. Once you have them apart, just turn to the egg yolk. We're only going to keep 1 egg white, so we're going to dump this one. And then we'll do it again. Crack your egg right over the spurtle. And your egg white and egg yolk are separated. Then we're going to add these 2 yolks to the wet mixture. Then you're going to take this egg white that you separated, and you're going to add some cream of tartar to it. We're going to whisk it and get it nice and foamy and fluffy, and then add that to the butter sugar mixture as well. Okay, so that's all creamed together. We really just have the dry ingredients left. So we've got our flour, 2¼ cups of all-purpose flour, plus 2 tablespoons of oat flour. And it's really nothing complicated. Just take your Quick Oats or your Quaker oats that you get in the canister, Just put them in a food processor or a spice grinder, anything to get them ground up like a flour. And this adds, you know, that subtle bit of sandiness to the cookies that really adds like a different level. Then we have, I think, a teaspoon of baking soda. I'll have to check that actually. And half teaspoon of salt. So this is coming together. You don't want to overmix it. I want to show you this dough. It's actually very, I don't know if you can tell from this, it's very crumbly, it's very dry. It's not going to be as wet as your standard recipe chocolate chip cookie dough, and that's perfect. That's exactly what you want. These don't really bake the same way. And you'll see it lends to like a really nice shape. They don't melt into a puddle in the oven. And then we're gonna add chocolate chips. I add 15 ounces, so I use a kitchen scale and I measure them out. And I add a few different kinds of chocolate chips. You can use whatever you have, but if you do add a variety of chips, you'll find it has that kind of special something that you can't quite put your finger on, and this is the secret. I use 1/3, so 5 ounces of milk chocolate chips, and 5 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips, and then 5 ounces of dark chocolate chips. If they're different shapes, if they're chunks or shavings, even better. The more variety you have, the more like interesting the cookie winds up being. So yeah, all 15 ounces, and I hand stir this in because I don't want my cookie dough to get overworked. For that, I should use my big paddle. It's a little bit of work. Because like I said, this cookie dough isn't actually terribly wet and soft, it's more crumbly and dry, but it's totally worth it. I keep my dough on my scale and I weigh out 2 ounces of cookie dough for each cookie. So it looks like this. Nice big pile, and you can see pieces fall off. It's kind of crumbly. And we're gonna get 10 cookies on the sheet. These cookies get pressed down onto the pan in kind of a circle shape, and I leave them about 1/4 of an inch, actually probably 1/3 of an inch thick. I'll press one down and I'll show you what it looks like. So I smash it, and this is the thickness. Hopefully you can see that. So whatever shape you press these into, that's the shape they're going to come out of the oven as. They do expand a little bit, but they don't melt out into a puddle like your other traditional cookie dough recipes do. So we smash them down. So these are ready. Just oven 10 minutes. If you like them a little more brown, which I do, give another minute, 30 seconds.